We are so thrilled to welcome Vyvyan Hammond to Sisters in Song tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ooh,
Nice to be here. So nice to
Tell
meet
us,
you.
tell us where you're coming to us from this day.
I'm in the Illawarra, which is just south of Sydney in Australia.
very cool. And we know you're from Sydney originally, is that right?
That's
Okay, very cool. So you are very far from us.
Yes.
We are in Omaha, Nebraska, in the middle of the heartland of the United States.
Yep.
So
And it's already tomorrow for you. So happy
Yes.
Friday for you.
Yeah, thank you. I do love a Friday.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
for
I
absolutely.
always think
sure.
of Rebecca Black every time it's Friday.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. So we are going to pick your brain about all things music and your songwriting and that kind of stuff. But the very first thing we want to ask is about your brand new single that just came out, Play Pretend. How did that come to be? And what was your kind of process for putting it out in the world?
Yeah, so Play Pretend, I last year I wrote about like 25 songs, and then I picked my favorite 12 or 13, and then I went into studio with Paul Green, and as he was sitting there, I came with like a wad of paper. He's probably never met someone quite so organized in a disorganized way. But as we were moving through it, I was just handing him wads of paper and going, "This is the one that I want to work on next. This is the one that I want to work on next." It sort of went from, I guess, a story that I had in my mind, and I wanted to make sure that I met all of the parts of that story. And Play Pretend was one of the songs that I wrote last because it filled the gap at the start of the story, about sort of how did I get here? And then I went, well, I got here because I kind of lost my identity. And then that's where Play Pretend came from. And then working with it through it with Paul. Instantly he was just like, let's go this direction. Um, and I was like, great. But then it turned into something very different in the middle. I remember being out at a bowling place with my child and hearing the next sort of like the build of it, because within production, it's sort of you get all these different instruments. And he's like, what about horns? And I was like, great, I love all of the instruments, but it went down this like baby elephant walk sort of path. And then we almost lost it. Almost sort of like went, no, not let's like leave this one because we had so many other songs. But then we just sat together. Actually, Claire Bowen came into the studio that day and to help with another song. And we sat there that morning going, what are we going to do with this? And it all came together in a couple of hours, like how it is now. Most of those are first takes of the song,
Wow.
and
Oh,
everything sort of just came together really sort of quickly in that one morning.
So it was meant to be out in the world.
that's right.
It had a strong evolution of like, yes, no, yes.
That's so funny.
Very unlike like the next song. I feel like we just sort of like when this is gonna be how it's gonna be, and then it existed. So it was sort of like one of those songs that was unknown from the start.
Yeah. It went through many iterations,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, totally.
So tell us, where will it find its home? Is it going to be on then a full album? And
Yes,
when would
yes.
listeners expect such a thing? It's super exciting.
And well, actually, it's almost completely finished the album. I just went straight from 0 to 11 songs now, uh,
Love it.
which is really back the front. But so there are 11 songs, and it will be on an album which I named already.
Oh, fantastic.
It's going to be called Lover's Gonna Love, Haters Gonna Watch. And
I
it will
like
be
that.
coming next February because it's my birthday, and I thought, well, why not
Oh,
celebrate with
yay.
birthday and Valentine's Day
Absolutely.
with a little bit of love?
Very
That's
cool.
so cool. And you've heard it here first.
That's right.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, I
I'm
love that.
so bad. I just like announce things before I lock them in, but I'm gonna now you've
You're
stuck
keeping
me
it now.
Well,
Right.
you didn't say an exact date, so
That's
that
right.
can fluctuate,
No,
right?
That's right.
thinking it.
February sometime.
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna say and I kind of mentioned this when we were first meeting, that it's really cool for us to see somebody
Yeah.
who is just kind of getting their foot out on the ground and starting to run with their musical talents. But you have been writing your whole life. Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
When I was 3, I moved to a farm in New Zealand. And so I spent a lot of time just sort of wandering around. I have 3 other brothers, but they were off at school, and my mum started a restaurant. So I would spend a lot of time just wandering around town, singing to myself, and I thought I was amazing. And all my teachers seemed to think that I was going to be a singer or an actor because I was actually very shy. But then as soon as they put me on a stage, I was just like, ah. So there was always an inkling there from my teachers. And then in our restaurant, we used to have a pianola. Uh, so I don't know if you know about the piano. It's one of those ones where you
No.
press
No.
the pedals and
Okay.
you put a roll of paper in, and it has the
Oh,
song you choose on it. And then you press the pedals and it puts down all of the keys on the massive piano. And I used to sit there and pretend that I was playing these magnificent songs on this piano. But I was always just like the quietest child, except when it came to music. And so I guess that was always sort of the inkling. And then, choir and during high school, just writing became I guess the way that I processed everything. And so then I've always written and listened to music. But I never thought of myself, and even now it's still really hard to think of myself as a musician specifically or as a songwriter specifically, even though I'm making music and I have made music, and I have written songs. It's just one of those sort of like perception shifts, like going from drawing art to being an artist.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so really now launching Play Pretend and doing this, I kind of am starting to see myself as an actual proper musician.
Yeah, you can say it. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I totally get that. I have my master's degree in poetry, and very rarely do I refer to myself as a poet. Like it's few and far
Yeah.
between, but I mean, I guess I am.
Yeah.
So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And you understand like the poetry and the writing finds you. Like
Yes.
you can learn more about it and you learn more about structures and you learn more about things, but it's sort of my way of processing.
So I'm very curious then, when you're writing, first of all, do you play instruments? And second of all, how do you create a song start to finish?
Yeah.
What's your writer
So
process?
Yeah.
So how I create a song to start to finish is very different to how I created the songs on this album because I had Paul Green, who is
Sure.
like an amazing musician that I could go and sit with. But so in my past, when I've created songs, I guess a lot of the time I will think of certain things like lyrically. I will write down a bunch of lyrics. I have a dumpster fire in my notes app. It's full of weird little phrases. Like, is that right? Is that a thing? Like, is this gonna sound good later? I'm not sure. Um, but then musically, I normally go with a beat and sort of building things. But with Paul, I wrote out all of these lyrics. It's really more about me being a story writer in this process. And then he sort of like sat there and went, I kind of heard it sounding like this. And then I would go, well, like, why don't we make it sound a bit more moody or a bit more like referencing? So I was consistently berating him with links of artists, but in the worst way, because I'd be like, don't listen to the song, just listen to the drums. And then so he would be like, so you want it sounded more rock? And I'm like, no, I want the drums to sound more like this. I think my brain has that ability to rip things part. And so I have very specific ideas of how I want things to sound, but not a lot of great musical instrument skills. I can play guitar very poorly. I can play piano even more poorly.
Sounds like us.
Despite the years of experience and being in proximity. And then also like just for recording, I get very anxious about doing the wrong thing. So I find it easier if I'm writing to record a little bit and then play with it so that I can layer it on so there's not as much stress of doing the live performance. Whereas Paul is just absolutely, it was like, everything comes out perfect. It does help for you to find a musical person.
Right. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was gonna say we play guitar poorly, and piano I play even more poorly.
Oh,
yeah.
Too. So we completely relate.
Yes.
We're learning both right now, and they're hard.
It's hard. It's definitely
I will
hard.
pick up anything and play with it. This is the thing with music. I find that we all and art and everything creative, we all think that things have to be played in a certain way. And so I will pick up an instrument and I will just fiddle with it and I'll hear a sound that I like. And then I will record that and then I can make a song out of that sound. So you don't have to really know all of the this is probably one of the unfortunate things about Paul and me is he would be like, what key? And I would be like,
I don't know. Just
like lower than that, but higher than the other one. Or I want it to sound like dwang, 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 dwang. Like I will make the noises, but properly I can't explain. We've got all of the keys in stickers on our piano upstairs so that you can see what the note is.
That is awesome. That is fantastic because mine also has
same.
Yep, but we're the same. I feel like we're coming from the exact same world view because we're both like, yeah.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I wrote a song on a ukulele a while ago, and it was really just like about how it sounds rather than it being notes. So if you fiddle with something long enough,
it's gonna come.
I like it.
Well, we kind of already talked about how you got into music. Is there anything you feel like you struggle with? Like if you start writing a song and you get stuck, what do you do?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I struggle with writing. So
well, that sounds good. Yeah.
Writing for me, I felt like, and I've said this to a bunch of people, writing for me is the way that I process. So I will write 4 bunches of songs in a day. It is more musically about how I get it to exist than it is how it forms. I think, that's the part. And then the performance aspect, I have still yet to perform. I don't think it's because I specifically am worried about getting out in front of a bunch of people. It's just the translation of the recorded sounds to a live sound and how everyone works together. So that's sort of the part that I am looking forward to approaching next. There are plans. There are plans. But it's sort of that next stage of how do we adapt our songs? Put a lot in a recorded song, and then now I'm at the point where we go, well, do we need 2 guitarists? How many people can we jam onto a stage? There's keys. Do we need a keyboard player? What's the limit of people that I can jam on a stage and still be able to afford my mortgage?
Right.
Fair.
I
feel like, do you know Arcade Fire? I feel like they just went, let's
go
with everyone.
Yes.
Let's just get them all in. So I feel like they understand me.
Yes, and it's so funny that you say that because I watched them on their Austin City Limits not that long ago. I mean, it was several years that it was on, but my husband was like, "How many people are in that band?" So
Yeah, it's the best. And they're like, just let's bring the organ. Bring
everybody,
the organ.
it's like the whole
Just
orchestra.
pile it all on the stage. And yeah, but they're amazing live. They're amazing bands. So like
Yeah, they're fun.
I
if
can
you
hear
can
what you're
do it.
saying though. Yes, that's true. But I hear what you're saying, like the translating from the recorded sound to the live sound, which I mean that makes sense. That's your next step. So of course that would be, something that's in the works,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
very
especially as I'm progressing through it
cool.
backwards.
Yeah.
From album to single to live, which is really
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So you mentioned working with Claire Bowen.
Yeah.
What is it? I guess what is the difference for you, like processing and writing by yourself and then collaborating? How do you feel like is it inspiring or like what is that process like?
So Claire, I've known Claire since I was 11. So so it's not really work. She she got the joy of me saying, "Hey Claire, come to the studio because that's where I am," which is nearby, kind of closer to her parents' house. Um and then unfortunately for her, she'd heard the song like once or twice. And so we just fed it to her line by line. She was a true professional.
That's awesome.
It was like and I gave her lyrics, but they were wrong, and it was just a whole joy for her. But she like is amazing. Like you'll give her a line, and she'll just be like this, blah, blah, blah. And so it was amazing to watch her work as an artist, as opposed to normally we are, like hand farting and
Goofing off and just love it.
where it truly reverts straight back to us being 11, 12, when we're around each other. So watching her in focus mode is quite awesome. And she just gets it straight away. Like, so if you're ever lucky enough to work with an artist like Claire, it's very easy. Like you just sit back and watch and they like, make it happen. With Paul, it was exactly the same. Like he, sometimes we'd have differing opinions on things, but I think that the goal for me was always through the process of making the album to enjoy the journey. And so it was always the journey. My annoying little mantra was the journey is the goal. As long as everyone is having fun, then everything at the end will sound amazing because everyone's happy. So there was never really there's never been a point at which anyone's gone, like, I don't like that or whatever. Just like, why don't we try this? Or, oh, this would be cool. It's all more like, why don't we, oh yeah, and getting excited about adding more things. I'm just like, oh, there's cicadas in that. More cicadas. I'm like, oh, I can hear the magpies like outside. Like, let's like, try and get more of that and just sort of like throwing ideas in as opposed to taking or cutting things down. In my lifetime, even though this is my first musical project in my lifetime, I've always worked with creative people in advertising as a producer. So I know that it's so important to be positive and to foster ideas and to help ideas grow and to be that positive. Like everyone wants to work on this because it's going to be so amazing. And so then that I think is like always being the most important, and then gets like wants to do it really well, especially when it's got my name on it. Like someone to come in and say, I want to do this really well, even though it's not got their big name on it. Like I'm constantly just like so grateful for everyone who's worked on it for putting in so much effort and so much of themselves.
Do you think
Very
that the
cool.
album has a concept that kind of runs through it?
It does.
Very cool. Very cool. You want
Um,
to spill it or you want to hold it?
yeah. So I was always very keen to make sure that it was mostly just about me, my perspective, and I guess, and now that I am a bit older and wiser, I hope.
Experience.
Serious, yes.
That I sort of lost myself, and I always put myself behind everyone else. And growing up, you're always told look out for everyone. And my mum was always like, let everyone go in the line in front of you. And you get to a point where sometimes you realize, especially, as a woman, that your job is caretaker, your job is all of these things for all of these people. And that at some point you sort of have lost yourself and you have to come back to go, well, what is it about me that makes me happy, that makes me want to be here? And then how can I be my most self, so that I can then find the right people around me. I think that's always been an issue in my life, that I've tried to make everyone happy, so then I've attracted probably the wrong people. So a very strong undercurrent of Play Pretend and then into the next single, Hunter Gathered, is about narcissistic abuse. In particular, I, as an autistic person, I find that I attract narcissists, unfortunately for me. And then, even a little part of my brain goes, I know this is happening, because I know it's fine. But now I realize that no, it's not. I have to protect myself and, know what's right to do next. And yeah, that whole undercurrent of narcissistic abuse and making sure that you're you and not losing yourself to other people has been sort of a really big part of the whole narrative. And so Play Pretend really starts off with that idea that you've lost your identity. But you don't kind of realize it because you do it to make those around you happy. So
Yep.
you're pretending.
Yeah, we're nodding. We're not.
Little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little things like you go, like I will eat those things because you like them, or I will dress a certain way. Like I always grew my hair really long because everyone used to say, girls have long hair, so you grow your hair long. But it's never really about addressing like, well, what is it that I want or what is it that I enjoy? And that sort of idea of like I can be whoever you want me to be in the end, because especially particularly in a narcissistic relationship, nothing that you do will be right. So you're constantly trying to do what you think might be right, but it doesn't work. And then you end up getting to a point where you go, what happened? So with Hunter Gathered, it sort of sits just after. It starts with like, it's been 3 weeks. So it sort of starts after that relationship ends. And it's sort of looking back going, how did that happen? Like, and you start to have all these realizations, because in the moment you don't think I've lost myself. It's just after that you go, whoa, how did I I not notice that? And you have all of these realizations of all of the ways that you did things, and you're like, well, that's not me. Like, why would I put myself in that situation?
I can't wait. This is going to be the album of 2026 for me.
Right.
I can already tell.
I know.
I'm really excited for the project.
Before you ask your next question, I want
Yes.
to ask about the video, because the video for me was so fascinating. Did you do that all by yourself? Did you have help? How did that work?
So funny
For Play
story.
Pretend,
I live in a very small little town. It's like a seaside town. 3,000 people. Across the street, there's a little block of like, what's it called? Like shops. There's a designer, like a very eclectic little group of shops. And there was always a van parked out the front. And it had a logo on the side. And one day I was like, what is the deal with that logo? And I looked it up, and it turns out they're like video production.
Oh, wow.
And I was parking out the front of my house, this tiny little, and so I sent them a message one day and I said, hey, do you make music videos? I'm across the street, like waving. And they're just like, yes. And they said that, yeah, we've made lots of local artists
Wow.
music videos. And so the concept for it, actually Hunter Gathered came first and then Play Pretend came second to sort of fit backfill. Always so weird that one.
Always.
Like
I was gonna say yes, backwards.
um so yeah, and then it just sort of came together really quickly at the start of August.
It's
Super
awesome.
cool.
So listeners need to check it out because
Yes.
it's so, I just loved it. I loved the whole creation of it. I loved the, the makeup and everything. It just, I felt like it matched the song really well.
Cool.
So kudos
Yeah.
to you and them.
So,
Oh,
so thinking of that, for listeners who have not had the pleasure to hear the song or your music, obviously, since it's not out there besides the first single, how would you describe your sound?
oh, so I had to have a big conversation with Paul about this, like after we'd finished, because it asks, like when you are sending your music out, they ask you, what does your music sound like? And I was truly stumped, which is so bizarre. When they give you the Spotify Wrapped thing,
Yes.
it said to me that you're a genre hopper. I had 3,000 different artists that I listened to last year.
Funny.
It's just like, that's a little bit much, but I feel like it's gonna cross a lot of those genres. It sometimes, especially Play Pretend, sort of like is a mix of pop and sort of like an older rock sound, Australian rock in particular. And then Hunter Gathered really goes more towards country. I think the reference there would be like a little bit like Chris Isaac, even though Paul denies. And then when you hear Starseed, it doesn't sound like anything. It's a little bit classical in a way, but a little bit like Lord Huron, sort of that
love.
choir sort of
Mhm.
thing. And those are my first three singles. And it does mold together in the album because there's a little bit more of that sort of indie rock pop sound. It sort of firmly sits more towards like rockers being the center, because there's a lot of guitars and there's big rock drums. I've always been a real drum person. Maybe that's I like a good set of drums, but I hate a snare. I don't know what it is about snares, but it just every time. So yeah, it's been a hard one thinking about like what bands. It's sort of like Wet Leg, which is very sort of like pop, like, but then also the Easy Beats, which is the old Australian rock band, and then there's a little bit of the Eagles, and then I was like, oh, what about like Fleetwood Mac? There's like a tiny twinge, but not really. Like
Let's call it eclectic rock.
very
Yeah.
eclectic. Like it sounds familiar where it sounds, but very different. It doesn't sort of fit into any of the categories perfectly.
Well, I'll have you know that I added Play Pretend to my running list. So you're now on my running.
Oh, excellent. Is it a good cadence?
It's very good for a running cadence. It's very good.
Oh, funny.
Perfect. Is that start like the guitars at the start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Not too fast.
Mine. No, not too fast, which is good because I'm still down in my old age. So
Experienced.
in my experienced age.
Well, you know about me and running, right?
I know you do some crazy races. Yes.
Another thing over the last year and a bit that I have taken up running, but I have taken up with gusto.
Yes. You have.
Man, both
a
of
lot
you.
of my songs are running. Yeah, I find that it makes my brain sort of work in terms of lyrics as well. Like I'll be running and then I'll be like, oh, I have to write about this and
stop. Yep.
Yeah. I've had a few falls from that, unfortunately.
I fall too, Vyvyan. I fall too.
Yes.
Oh, we're sisters in song.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I saw a couple of your crazy races, and I
Oh
did
my
an
gosh.
Ironman myself a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing another. I came out of retirement this year because there's a local half Ironman, so I'm going to do that this year. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know about this, but here we go.
I'm the
Yeah,
cheerleader.
why not?
I don't do
My biggest tip for those big races is just keep going. People
Yep.
always say, "How do you run long distance?" And I said, "Well, when you get to the point at which you're tired, just keep going."
Yeah, right. Don't stop. Don't start walking, because once you start walking, that's it. You're
Yeah.
done.
Oh no, I'm a fan of walking. I find I
Me
find
too. I'm just kidding. I couldn't do. There's no way I could do an Ironman and
Not walk.
not walk
Yeah.
in the marathon
yeah,
part.
just take your time. I find that if you keep going, as long as you keep going,
Yeah,
then you'll get
Forward
there at the
momentum.
end.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
That's great. Do you want to ask her 4? I'll let you
Yes,
start
let's
this
ask
time.
our 4 questions. Okay, these are the big 4 questions that we ask everybody in season. You're in season 5, by the way.
Yes.
What is your, well, this might
This
be
one
hard for
doesn't,
you.
yeah.
I don't know if this one
Pertains yet.
yes, because it's first gig and favorite gig. So we
Oh,
can't even really ask you
yeah.
that.
It's yet to
Oh,
come.
when I was 11, I played Grandma Josephine in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's perfect.
It
We
counts.
like that. Okay, so then when we have you on later again to
That's
talk
right.
about your next album,
Yep.
you can tell us about your first gig and your
That's right.
We've sort of penciled in November for first gig. First
very,
I love
very
it.
cool. I
All
love
right.
it. I love it.
We'll follow up on that. We'll say, how was it?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
So who would you say are your influences? I know that you have a lot, but or you listen to a lot.
Well, when I was thinking about this, when I was little, I got a cassette tape, which will age me, of Jenny Morris. And I used to love, like, because I grew up on a farm in New Zealand, Jenny Morris, Split Ends, Crowded House. And so maybe there's a little bit of influence of Crowded House and that. Split Ends, they did this album called Enzo with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, which I adore. It's got all sorts of different singers and bands in that. I love like the new sort of wave of British punk as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lambrini Girls
Oh
are
yeah, me too. They're fun.
yeah. And then, like probably a issue of my age, that sort of like 2000s to 2015 sort of like indie rock.
Yes. Yeah, we
Love
relate
it.
to that.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Are you listening to anybody currently on repeat?
Always listening to people on repeat. Do you know what? I thought, like, I have a thing where I create a playlist on Spotify every half a year. I used to be every
Cool.
month, but every half a year, because I listen to so many different bands and I would never find them again. It's so hard.
You can cheat and peek at your Spotify.
Oh yeah.
My big sort of like obsession is Lambrini Girls, but also like Amel and the Sniffers, Bobby Villain, also really cool. In Australia, Miss Kanina, I went and saw her. She's like amazing too.
How do you spell that? I want to write that one down.
Kanina. Oh, she might be Kanina.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Delacy.
Oh, I don't know the music, but I've heard the name.
Delancey. It's because I just listen to so many, but don't like
Write them down. Yes, I did.
Yeah, right. Bell, which is like BEL in capital letters. So many.
Yes, that's good though. They
Paula
say that,
Gartland.
Oh yeah, I like her too.
they say that people who write songs and stuff, the more you listen to different kinds of music, the better your own music is. So see, you got it nailed right there.
I have a noisy brain, and so I often require music to shut it off.
Yep. music and running. That's mine. So
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly. Without the running, I would get more anxious, and then without the music, I just have too many thoughts.
That's right. Running saves lives, and so does
So does music. That's right. Okay. What advice would you give to people that are in your same shoes, like just starting out?
Yeah. So I know I mentioned Rebecca Black before, but I had a chat with Claire about Rebecca Black, about how I think she's a legend just because she went for it and she just did it. And I think that that is like such an amazing thing, that you just do it. And you know what? Like, no matter what you do in life, like people will always say you can't do that because they're not doing it.
Yes,
that's so true.
Just go and do it. Just, you're gonna get flack no matter what. So you may as well have fun doing it. And then that's the thing, like, yeah, the journey is the goal. Enjoy doing it. Don't punish yourself along the way. If you're enjoying it, then you'll keep doing it. And then invariably you'll get there, which which is where I am.
Hey.
So
Invariably I'll get there. Definitely last year and the start of this year, it felt a little bit like, am I doing enough? Is it gonna work? Maybe I should just but like, if you just keep doing a little bit, you keep going, invariably you get there.
That's right. See,
Love
same
it.
as running. You just keep going.
That's right.
Fantastic advice.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, now it's time for your shameless plug. Where can we find your music, your website, if you have Bandcamp, any of those things, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera?
I have all of the things, but my name is spelt a little bit different. It's spelled Vyvyan. So my website's vyvyan.com.au. And then on Bandcamp, I'm Vyvyan Hammond. Everywhere else, I'm Vyvyan Hammond, which is spelled the same joyous way. Unfortunately, I was born with that name, but it is a very cool name because it's the punk from Young Ones.
Love it. Oh, that's fantastic.
It is.
Well, we want to thank you so much for making this happen so quickly and for joining us on, and with sharing your journey with us.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
You guys are delightful.
You are too. Yeah. So glad to meet you. And hopefully maybe someday down the road, you'll be in the States and you'll be performing.
Yeah.
Yes. Love that.
All my brothers, I have 3 brothers and they all live there. So it's a matter of inevitable.
Yes.
Yes.